Yo, 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 what's up, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to yet again another fantastic indie creator interview. It's your Capers Cody, and we're keeping it geekly with the attack of the Matts. We have Matt Fife and Matt Rodgers. We're here for our 400th interview. Yeah. Holy crap. The last time I had you guys on was for interview 175. So much has changed since then. Like, it's insane to even think about. Like, that's what, probably 6 months in keeping it geekly time. Like, time is just a man-made like construct at this point. But like, what the hell's been up with you guys? Matt R has a beard at this point. Oh my god. How have you guys been?
Good.
Great.
How have you been?
I have been managing. You know, we're doing the damn thing, keeping it geekly almost every day. Trying to make it look a little bit better in here. I think we have a new light since you guys have last been on. You know, I've just been really focused on what I could do to make the background look better, and then getting more personal with these interviews. You know, I've always kind of had that knack where I wasn't like a robot, but like really, chopping it up with the boys, I feel like is the best recipe for a good chat.
Yeah, I agree.
So Matt R, last time you guys were on was for Happy Astronaut. This was a campaign on Zoop. How did that campaign end up going for you guys?
It went really, really well. Like 36 hours fully funded.
Let's go, dude. Let's go.
Kept going up from there, man. It's awesome.
So, Matt F, what was the fulfillment like on that? That was your guys' first time fulfilling a campaign, right? Or did Zoop handle that?
No, we handled that. It was okay. I'm really glad we didn't get thousands of backers, because the however many we had was enough. Lots of trips to the post office, lots of packing tape. It was a good time. Good week or so spent doing that.
I'm sure the post office loved you as well by the end of it, right?
I bet they did.
Yeah. And we got to give a shout out to Dan Membiela. He told us about Pirate Ship.
That's right.
And that was a lifesaver for shipping stuff.
You know, Dan is really the man. That is like my, what's the word? My Yoda, I guess. If Dan's never done interviews, but like I always like, if Dan is like proud of the show, I'm like, okay, well, I'm doing good. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's my canary in the mine shaft. Like, as long as Dan is happy with the show, I'm doing good. Like, I'm doing everything I need to. There's no worries. A big shout out to Dan if you're listening. So Matt, I mean, Happy Astronaut, this was a phenomenal read. We had the chance to check it out on Zoop. You guys just recently got picked up by a publisher though. Holy crap, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
So give us a little bit about that, guys. Matt F. I keep forgetting. I need to address my last names.
Am I talking about it? Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
It's crazy. I mean, we were fully expecting to make another Zoop campaign. I think we were planning to launch one within the next month or two, and then I got an email from KeenSpot saying that they were interested in publishing Happy. But they had a whole list of things that were suggestions to make Happy better, or for them, better for them. And so we had to scrap that entire, what would have been second issue of Happy, and start with a brand new number one. Completely rebuild the story, rebuild the art, do color, and with a deadline, and we got it done.
Congratulations on getting it done. Matt R, I mean, as the artist, how did that feel?
Oh man, do I have a story for you?
He's like, sit down, kids, I have a story.
So, the Zoop issue 2 was like 90% completed. And then we got this deal and all these like suggestions for change. Most of them made sense and everything. So it's like I had to take all those pages, and it was like a 32-page book, I think, and it's all scrapped. I have them they're in a cabinet right now, and we had to start from the beginning. So we wrote this new story, and I drew by hand, like on paper, penciled, inked, scanned, colored 24 pages. And by the time I was done with that, I realized that I got the dimensions wrong for the artwork for the final files, and and it was like the ratio was off, so I couldn't even just like resize it.
Oh my!
So I had to redraw recolor, re-ink the entirety of book 1. And I was telling this story the other day. I took vacation from my day job, and in 11 days, I penciled, inked, and colored 18 pages.
Jesus
Just to get caught back up.
Jesus Christ. At least you know you're capable of it, though.
And you hit the
Holy
deadlines.
crap, dude.
And that was the same week that Jedi Survivor came out. And in that
Oh
week, I
my
also
God.
played and beat that.
That explains the beard. The beard makes sense now.
I don't have time to shave.
He, like, when we got on the stream, he turned the lights on. He's like, like, daylight. What is this? So, I mean, what are your guys' feelings getting picked up? This is so big. Congratulations, guys.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's
Thank you.
super exciting. Like, we get to be in previews. It's distributed by Diamond, so it's like there's potential for every comic shop in the United States to see it and order it. So yeah, it's been a wild ride, man. It's just like,
And we really haven't had time to, like, I haven't had time to really process that something that I've wanted to happen forever is happening. It happened, and then I just had to roll with it and get it done. And sometimes it'll hit me. Oh crap, I'm in previews. I'm going to be in actual comic shops. It's still hitting me that we made this Zoop comic, you know?
Mhm.
It's just, yeah, right. It just keeps going, and I just have to keep rolling with it. It's crazy.
That's awesome. We have Dr. Hino419 saying, good morning, y'all. Good morning. Thank you for joining us. And then we have Anthony Latish. Sorry if I butchered that pronunciation of the last name. I have a question for Matt. And Matt, if I bought an issue for you to sign at a con, can you draw a nose on Happy?
his last name is pronounced Latch.
Latch, thank you.
Yeah, I will draw a nose on there, and it's going to be the worst one.
I was going to say, what type of nose would Happy have if Happy had a nose?
A pig nose.
So for everyone that is tuning in, give us a little bit about, I mean, just you two as a collaborative effort. Like, how do you two work together? I mean, what does that process look like for you? You know, from script to pencils, or you work on a tablet, Matt, right? From script to digital.
Well, Fife writes it. Go ahead.
You go ahead, Rodgers.
Okay, I will. He, like, throughout the day, I'll just like text him random ideas. Like, I'll just have something pop in my head and be like, we should have Happy do this sometime. And that's all like on a file. We just have all these like little 1/2 sentence blurbs of like just little ideas, like these aliens have gumball machines for heads, like weird stuff. And then so Fife will write, he'll give me like a general like gist of here's the main idea for the story, and then I'll be like, that sounds great. And then he'll do a page by page, panel by panel breakdown. Then he dialogues it and he sends that to me, and then I do thumbnails for it, or I'll just start drawing it. And then I'll run into something that, you know, when you're like reading something and picturing it in your head, it's different than when you're actually making it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's times where I'll be like, I think this might work a little bit better. And he'll either say yeah or no. And we just go from there, and we'll get the art finished. And then me and him go through together and kind of do the dialogue, scripting, and like lettering at the end. So
It's a lot of working together and working together separately. Like, I'm not involved in the art, he's not involved in the scripting, but we're both looking over each other's shoulders and, you know, making sure that we're both happy with the final comic, the final story.
Happy. I love how you threw that in there as well. So Matt Fife, how'd you feel when Rodgers had to redo it all? Like, got it done. I'm sure you were like, dude, let's go. And then like that resolution of the resizing, I mean, that had to have been a kick.
Yeah, that I felt really bad for him, but I was really swamped with everything else in life, and I was falling behind on getting the script done for issue 2.
You're on your own, Rodgers. I'm sorry.
right.
I was kind of glad. And by the time he got number 1 completely finished and sent off, issue 2 was at a point where he could get started. So.
You don't get to take a break too long, Rodgers. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
So how was it? Oh, go ahead, Rodgers.
Oh no, that was nothing important.
I was gonna say, how was it going from, you traditionally did black and white. How was it like going to color? Were you a colorist beforehand, or was this something where you kind of had to just learn as you go?
I would colored like the Zoop issue. There's actually files that exist that whole thing was colored at one point, and it's just that when you're self-publishing, the printing cost between a black and white book and a color book is massive.
Yeah.
So we looked at the pricing on everything and what we wanted to do, and like the length of the book, and we were like, it just makes more sense to do black and white. So it's just hide a layer, do a shading layer, and it's good to go. But yeah, the color stuff, somebody else is paying for it. It's awesome.
I love it. And we were talking backstage, the color adds such a whole new feeling to this. I mean, we're going to actually take a look at the Zoop book and then a couple pages of this brand new issue. So for everyone watching, stay tuned. I hope you guys are excited. But the coloring, I mean, it's just like when it was black and white, it felt so much more like serious, like almost like an adult vibe to it without being like an adult comic, just like that serious nature to it. And then the colors just like, I don't know, it adds that charm to it that you really can't get with black and white, it feels.
Yeah, definitely. It's just, you can build more interesting like worlds in color than you can in black and white. So
what was some of the influences for the designs in these characters? I mean, we actually have a new look for Half too, so I'm excited to take a look at that. But what's some of the influences you had for the design of Happy?
He's changed so much over time. Like before, he was just like this little astronaut, and he had like a bright orange jumpsuit and like a little laser gun. And we always gave him like the glass dome helmet. And then just the more we drew him, because we have, I would think it's either 3 or 4 like full issues that we've drawn over time that just won't ever come out because it was like our practice phase. Like he needs to learn how to write scripts. I need to learn how to draw a book. And it's so the first stuff's really bad looking, but he just kind of evolved over time into what he is now. Like before, he always had like that little blonde chunk of hair sticking out, but it was really little. And then finally I just got super bold with it, and now it's just like he has this huge like Nike swoosh of hair all the time. And I used to use templates to draw his head like to be a perfect circle, and then we actually got Scoot McMahon drew a sketch card of him for us at Cincinnati Comic Expo last year. And I watched how he drew them, and it just like hit me. I was like, templates are stupid. I just need to do a nice oval. And yeah, he just kind of went over time. And then Half's character design, when we submitted to Keen Spot, they sent back, hey,
So when we get to look at the Zoop campaign, we'll have you pull that back up so I can like give you a big zoomed in look on it too.
Okay.
But when we submitted to them, they said, we like it. It's great. It's fun. Here's a list of suggestions that we would say to change. And one of the biggest suggestions was Half. He was originally called LRD. We changed him to Half. They said that his previous design was a little bit too reminiscent of Invader Zim's character.
Okay, I could see that.
Gur, I think it is. And so I looked up pictures of him, and I was just like, silver robot with 2 big round blue eyes, pretty much dead on. So we redesigned him, and the one that we have now, it works out really well because it's his face, like he can actually emote now.
Yes.
So that is a huge thing for that, because before it was just this stone face, which was funny in its own way. But now it like we can actually have him show emotions, or we can display anything we want there potentially.
And rest in peace. I think the creator of Invader Sim just recently passed away. So rest in peace to him. It's insane. I think that's kind of what inspired the Comics Broke. Did you guys see that, the Comics Broke me movement that's been going on Twitter? I want to say that kind of maybe helped lead the way to that.
I can't think of his name right now. I don't think he was the creator, but I think he worked in the books a little bit.
Okay, yeah. I might have been wrong on that.
I've been following the Comics Broke Me thing. It's crazy. For Fife, it's Comics Broke Me as a hashtag where everybody's basically like complaining about how ruthless the comics industry can be.
Well, I mean, I would say, if anything, it kind of just, it's nice to see everyone banding together over it and being, and kind of just showing just what it's like. I was, backstage, we were talking about this. I got screwed over. And it's like, I don't know, it's hard to talk about it because it's like, does that deem me unworkable? Like, is another company going to see this and be like, okay, well, I don't want to work with that guy. He's going to run his mouth if I treat him badly. Like, that is such a thing. And it's like, you see, it's such a rude awakening to see how prevalent it is in this industry.
Yeah, it's definitely like, because it's so small, like when you're in the comics industry, it feels like it's huge, but it really isn't. So it's like, if you burn one bridge, you potentially have burned 5 bridges.
Yeah.
Just with how tight everybody is with it. It's like, just be friendly, man. It's awesome.
Yep.
Yeah, be good. Do good. I love Matt F's little wallpaper back there. I think that's awesome. Do good. So let's do good and get back to Happy Astronaut real quick. We have Anthony Latch. I'm curious if either of you will submit your own copy to CGC. Are we going to see that in the future?
I'm gonna get one of mine done.
Yeah. What's the process like on that? Is it expensive to do it?
It's so confusing. I've looked at their website and they have so many services, and sometimes it's like you can get it slabbed for like $40, and then they have other ones where it's like $100, and they have ones where it's like $100 plus a percentage of the value. I'm just sitting there like, I'll talk to him in person at a show.
I just want a hard plastic around it. Just make it safe.
Exactly.
So with this new adventure, this new issue 1, what where are we going to see Happy go? Like what's going to happen with this new story?
That's Fife.
What's going to happen with the new story?
Yeah, with the first one was kind of like a character study, if I'm not mistaken. So where are we going to see him go with this new issue?
Wherever whoever he meets takes him.
Ooh, I like that answer.
Happy has a lot of me in him, and he so he's kind of he's afraid to put his foot down, and he gets drug around a lot and forced into situations he doesn't want to be in, and but it's easier to just go along than to say, no, I'm gonna go do this and then actually go do this. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
He's gonna meet a lot of different people on a lot of different planets, and they're gonna make him do things that he doesn't want to do, and we're gonna go along for the ride.
I love it. And Matt, as the artist, I mean, what type of designs can we expect to see from you?
Oh man, when they get issue 1, it'll be mostly familiar kind of stuff, but it ends like super ridiculously. And from that point forward, it's just going to be even more ridiculous. Like, it's going to be awesome. I can't wait to get it going.
I feel like this number 1 it's a lot different from the Zoop comic. If people who backed us on Zoop get this, it'll feel similar, Happy drops down to a planet and investigates. But then, yeah, like he was saying, the last page, it completely turns it. It changes it. It's going to be fun.
It's going to be so good.
Yeah, I love it. Let's go ahead and use this opportunity. Let's pull up both the Zoop and then a couple pages of the new one and check out some of these differences. So real quick, Matt Fife, go ahead and pull up that card for us so we can get a big look at it. The sketch card.
Oh, this is Scoot McMahon.
That's so cool.
This is Cincy Comic Con.
I need to go there too. I actually went to Toledo Fantasticon not too long ago in March.
Yeah, you should come.
You should come. We're getting a table this year. We'll be tabling.
I'm definitely I'm trying to hit more and more cons, and I keep forgetting we're basically neighbors, right? Like Matt Fife, you live in Ohio too, or close?
I live in Ohio. Yeah.
Really? Okay. Yeah. Let's go. It was so funny because Matt R was saying it was raining and storming, and I was like, I need to go outside and close my windows in my car because we live so close together. It's going to be raining over here soon. All right. So we are looking right here. Is the Zoop comic So this is the first issue, the character study, if you will, the Panic on Eyeball Planet. So this, I loved right away, just, with the colors just add so much life to it. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird going back to it in the black and white. And is it weird for you guys seeing it like without all the colors too?
It's bizarre,
but I still love it. That's our baby right there.
So the one thing I will say too is like with colors, Matt R, the way you made the lights illuminate, it's just gorgeous. But even in black and white, you could still see that illumination. You did such a good job of still maintaining that aura, excuse me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that's actually the first time I ever worked with screen tones, like the dots and stuff. So I was really happy with the way that it turned out.
And then we have Planet Eyeball, of course, is like one of the most grotesque planets imaginable. I loved it. And I just love how like the crazy antics like, are the same with this comic and the new one. Like it's just as crazy, if not even crazier, I feel.
Yeah, like when we got published, we were like, okay, let's treat the Zoop issue like you were saying. It's like a character study. If you bought that issue, then the characters are the same. You know what I mean? So like you take their personalities and how they act and you just put it in color and change the designs a little bit, but it'll be like, it's kind of like that's an issue 0. And then you go into issue 1 and it's like seamless other than the jarring switch to color.
I really like how in this one you take more time to kind of explore the relationship in the beginning, and the other one's kind of just like action packed right off the rip. One thing I noticed too is like the antennas, like the way you kind of point those down to express a little bit of emotion in him when you really couldn't utilize the face.
Right.
Your art is just, I love it, Matt
Oh,
R, excuse me. Your writing's just as good, Matt F.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, it's super fun.
And yeah, just I just love like a lot of how the gleam on the glass right here. I'm in black and white. It just feels like that's such a hard thing to accomplish.
It's just mostly an opacity layer, just lower it, and it wasn't too hard. I was happy with how it turned out, because if it looks like it was hard, then it means that it looks good.
You could have fooled me. You keep that optic of illusion there, Matt R. And then the way you utilize, so that's the thing with colors. I mean, I guess you could still do it, but it maybe doesn't hit nearly as hard like the negative aspect of it, where you have like the cupboard and it just kind of bleeds into the black background as well, like the negative usage of space right here.
Yeah, that was the hardest part with the switch, because when you're planning on something being in color, you can do a lot more, but black and white's like an entire different beast. Like, there's a reason they haven't put out a colorized version of Sin City, because it just like wouldn't work. It wasn't made that way at all. So we had to do a lot of changes to get it to work out. But yeah, it turned out.
I wouldn't mind going back to Eyeball Planet though.
Yeah. I love it. Just like those little ridges in the ground. Those are supposed to be like blood vessels.
Yeah, the veins in the eyes.
Yeah, that was a lot more obvious when they were bright pink. But
so, do you prefer the color over the black and white, Matt R, or do you feel like the black and white's a little bit more fun to work with?
I prefer color. When we get to the preview of the Keen Spot #1. You'll get to see, I like using the black and white in little spurts. I think it's neat, like to have like for flashbacks or something like that. But I mean, they're different, but color is definitely more time consuming. But when they're done properly, they both turn out really good.
I love this too. Guess I'll use my travel cup and try this liquid. Reminds me of that one commercial, the Clear Eyes commercial, the dude with the you know what I'm talking about, the guy, he's like, meh, try these Clear Eyes. He's like the lawyer guy.
Yeah. Old Ben Stein.
Yes, okay,
Stein.
there it is. Yes. I was hoping my voice would work. Thank you, Matt R, for coming in with that alley-oop. And I also loved how the hover scooter remained the same too. That's why I love this little vehicle he had.
Yeah, that's been in That's been in it since like the very first few drawings of Happy.
Yep.
He's always had his little like space segue, so it's awesome. It's fun.
So what are some of
comic we did?
Yeah, Matt F. What are some of the important elements and attributes to Happy? What makes Happy happy?
It we'll find out. I'm not really sure. I know, like I was saying, he's got the problem where he's the people pleaser type, but eventually he's going to put his foot down, and that'll be a nice change for the comic too when that happens.
I pick up a little bit of like Finn from Adventure Time. That type of like personality and kind of like type of character.
Okay, I've never watched Adventure Time. I
I've
know
told him to. I've told him to.
for 10 years he's told me to, but
I'm almost
so
34 and I probably love it more than my kids do. Like, it's good. Oh God, it's surprisingly good.
And it's one of those shows that it like starts out as like this dumb little adventure show, but by the time you get to the end of it, like they have all of these storylines that have woven through the entirety of the series, and it gets to like a fairly mature place. Like,
oh yeah.
It's such a good show. But yeah, I took a lot of influence. Clearly my art style is influenced by that. The thing about Happy is we have our main character is kind of like the most boring character in the book. And I don't even really mean that in like a negative way. It's just so one of the things with Keen Spot is they suggested that we change his color palette to bright primary colors. And we didn't do that because we want him gray, because the emphasis is more on the worlds that he goes to.
Mm-hmm.
So if you make him bright and colorful, then he stands out against something else we're trying to make bright and colorful. So we kept him gray on purpose, and it's kind of like that's his personality. He just has like kind of a gray personality, like you can project onto him. And he's more of a reactive main character, I would say.
Is there an importance with 27? Is that like an Easter egg or just
that's my favorite number.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's about like Chicago area punk bands, and a lot of them use like a circle with a 27 in it as like a little like community logo, almost like they're unionized or something. And
I
then
love it.
we have the number 42, which is the secret to life, the universe, and everything. So our publishing company that we have is called 2742 Publishing. And so it's basically, we're taking punk rock and science fiction and put them together.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I love it. And then we got Happy, of course, looking like Matt R right now with the big negative beard.
It's my first cosplay. Good.
Yeah, I hope you do bring this back. I really love I love this guy too. This guy was awesome.
Yeah. Franklin's great.
Yeah.
He didn't stick around very long, but he made an impression.
Who knows?
And I love right here, just reading a book, chilling in a chair. Like robots need a comfortable chair, a big plushy chair.
Yeah, it's just like he drinks coffee somehow, and that's weird.
We do what we want. It's science fiction.
And like I said, this one felt, maybe it's because of the beard and the survival, but it felt like such a more serious like feeling, like a serious tone to it.
I like when characters and situations can do like a wide range, do serious stories and then do totally goofball off the wall stories, like I think if you're goofy all the time, then it kind of overstays its welcome. If you're too serious
all the time,
right? But then if you're goofy and then you have like a serious moment, I think that serious moment can hit harder.
Yep.
I think there's a lot you could do, like especially since you're doing it in color, you could do spin-offs in black and white, make them like little horror stories and such. Like there's a whole universe to explore with like both ideas, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna die.
Yeah.
I love this scene. Like this is so much. I'm coming, Franklin.
man.
Yeah, this is so good too. It would be so wild to be stuck on an eyeball planet, right? Like that'd be so gross. I couldn't even imagine stepping on it, like what that texture would feel like. I don't try to put a contact in, even just feels kind of weird. So can you imagine just stepping on like an eyeball? Ugh.
Like a hard-boiled egg.
And you definitely tell me this eye had pink eye after they left, after stepping all over it right here.
I mean, it's definitely irritated, that's for sure.
So right here is a look at that Zoop campaign. Now, guys, you're in for a treat. We're going to get a look at it and see what it looks like in color. Real quick, we have Dr. Hino 419. Wait, this is the 400th episode? My gosh. Right here, we're going to go for another 400, so stay tuned, guys. I hope you guys are on board for the ride. Maybe we can get you guys on for episode 800. Let's make it happen.
Oh, man.
We got Anthony Lash. Rodgers, do you have any influences when getting to design creatures for the book?
Nope. Not really. Like, I just kind of start drawing stuff. Like, a reference is a huge thing. Oh, crap. There it is. Oh yeah, look at that beautiful cover. So that the logo, that was another suggestion that they had. They said that our old logo is a little bit boring and they wanted something that more suits the tone of the book.
Mm-hmm.
So we had that logo done now.
Is this where you started doing the oval shape with his head too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I think it might have shown up in the
meeting with management story.
Yeah, the little meeting with management, like the little 3 or 4 page story that happened in between the Zoop campaign, the 2 stories. I think he had his oval head in there. Like I was starting to work with it, but this is where it really took on its own thing. I mean, his hair is so huge.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, let me go ahead for everyone that is watching. Right here is the Previews World link to pre-order this. This is dropping in shops August 30th, 2 days after my birthday. Make sure you wish me a happy birthday by pre-ordering this book today. And if you want, right here is the website from their publisher, KeenSpotShop.com. You can pre-order it from there as well for just $6. Outstanding price on that, guys.
$6 for a couple of the covers. There's 4 or 5 covers total. A couple of them are a little bit more expensive, but yeah.
We got hollow foil and a retailer variant.
And we have
those are more expensive. But
sketch covers like 10. It's just a white cover, but yeah. On to the show. That's the new Happy design.
Yeah, right here's the new Happy. I we were talking backstage, and it took me like a year and a half to come up with the term. Feels like such an iconic character. Like you could put this on a sticker, put it on make a chibi form of it, and do all kinds of things with this new guy. I mean, how'd you come up with him?
I wanted something that could have a face that could work and show different emotions. I had one previous design that was kind of inspired by Daft Punk a little bit, like just a kind of a black dome with earpieces, and that way he could have a face. And then I had one that was more like a old school, like Tiger Electronics game where he just had kind of a grid that I could arrange dots on. And that was too restrictive. So I was just like sitting in my computer room and looked over, and I have an old CRT TV that I have my PlayStation 2 hooked up to. And I was just like, why don't I just make a TV for his head?
So Matt, go ahead, Matt.
I just went with it, and that's what we came up with. So
Matt F, when you said you had to write some new scripts for this, when you were writing Happy, did you rewrite any of his character at all, or did you kind of stay to the same formula you did with the last one?
Very similar formula. His personality's the same, but with rebooting Happy or whatever, I was able to incorporate a story for Half that was separate from Happy.
Okay.
So now we're going to learn that he is actually a stowaway from a robot planet, and somebody stole some parts of his, and now Happy and Half are scouring the universe searching for these missing parts. That's
so what do those parts do? Don't worry about it, Cody.
Exactly.
I love that part so much. I'm like, yes, give me more. And so I will say this too. When the introductions, I felt like were just so. It just felt like such a perfect introduction. Having him in the El Crapo stink factory, spraying the spray on turds. It just felt like a whole different approach from the first book that you guys had on Zoop. You know how on Zoop you kind of had like those mini series, like the mini stories. It felt like this felt like a series. You know what I mean? Instead of like a collection of stories, this felt like, you know what I mean? The building blocks for like just. I don't know how to better explain that. Is that making sense to you guys?
Yeah, like we had an intro for Happy in the Zoop book, but it was just like the inner front cover, and it was just text boxes giving the quick backstory. And the publisher said it would be a lot cooler to actually show it.
Yeah.
But we didn't want to dedicate like a lot of our first issue to it, so we scrunched it down into one page. Our buddy Troy Dongara, he actually pitched a sketch for his idea of what the first page should be, and that's kind of what we went with.
Yep.
That's so cool. And I love how he's just not about it.
And then that's where I used the black and white screen tones there. It's kind of like a transition from the Zoop book into the color universe.
And you could tell like this is when he's not happy, right? Like he's not having fun, but exploring the stars, makes him happy, right? Gives him life, gives him color. I don't know if that's what you intended, but that's kind of what I perceive. And I love, even if it was not intentional, that's awesome,
We'll go with intentional.
This and his ship too. I just love the design of the new ship. It feels a lot more fleshed out as well. I mean, I love like the simple rocket design, but this thing just feels so beastly.
Yeah, it's more interesting to look at visually, and we can do more cool poses. Like you can't really pose like a rocket in too many different ways to we just change where the window is and suddenly it's just facing a different direction, but this has its own distinct shape. So turned out really cool. But yeah, man,
I love all these colors. So Matt F, what's your thoughts on some of the new designs, like the Happy design, the ship design?
Oh, I love it all. Like when it comes to that, I completely let Rodgers have control and say over it. There's one thing I made a suggestion on towards the end of the book, but I trust my collaborator, and he did an awesome job. So
this will be the last page we look at, and right here I just love the different arrays of expressions, just how much life you can give this character just by adding 2 eyes in a mouth.
No nose. Sorry, Anthony.
No nose. What's up? You guys have beef with noses?
Oh, just me. I'm known in our small circle for how fast I can work, and I joke that the way that I'm so fast is I just don't draw noses, and Happy only has 3 fingers. So
and it's one of those things where it makes sense because a nose is like it feels like a big part of the face, right? Like it's the middle. Like if you don't get that nose right, you spend a lot of time redrawing it to get that perspective.
Yeah, exactly. So just no nose.
No nose. And take away 2 of those fingers too. We don't need them.
Yeah. Don't need them.
So thank you guys for the opportunity to showcase. Is that the first time the public's ever seen those pages?
I think so. Yeah. Ooh. Other than like little teaser shots from social media where I'm just like making comics. Check it out. Making comics.
Go. Well, hey, I appreciate the exclusive. That was so awesome to look at Zoop and then the transition to see it all in color. Very gorgeous. Matt F, Matt R, for anyone who might be on the fence about pre-ordering, what would you guys say? What's the importance of pre-ordering this from your comic book shop?
We just want to make comics, and we can't make comics if people aren't buying them. But if you do pre-order it, you will get a complete story in the first issue. It will continue, but you'll get a complete story. So we set up this series to be done in one style stories. that continue over to the next one. We modeled it after like DC Comics Presents and Marvel 2-in-1, those sorts of old books where you'd read your comic, you'd get a full story, and then on the last page, your hero would meet who they were going to fight or hang out with next. And then the next issue, you didn't need to read the previous issue because, you know, it wasn't to be continued, but it was. So you'll get a full story and a teaser of what's next. And the teaser's really awesome.
I love the teaser in this one. This teaser in this one was great.
I'll just wait till you see issue 2, man. Issue 2's nuts.
Yeah. And the importance of pre-ordering is if you don't pre-order, they don't know they need to print that many. So the more people that pre-order, the more get printed.
So we keep hearing talks about issue 2. I mean, is that around the corner, or are you guys planning that for 2024?
We're doing every 2 months. So this one comes out at the end of August. So issue 2 will be out in the end of October. We've already submitted the covers and synopsis for number 2 to Diamond through the publisher. So that'll be in August previews. All the timing stuff's so bizarre.
It'll be up for pre-order in August.
Okay.
Yeah. So every 2 months we're gonna put a new book out.
That doesn't seem too bad either, right? Like that seems like a nice little workload for you guys without stressing out too much. So right here is the link to pre-order issue 1. It's coming out in stores August 30th. So guys, make sure you get on this train while you still can. Now, Matt, you both have been on the show before. You know the drill. We always love asking for a little bit of advice. As a awesome collaborative duo, let me ask you guys this question. For anyone who is looking to collaborate with someone for the first time, what would be the biggest piece of advice you could offer them to kind of make sure that is smooth sailing for them? Matt F., we'll start with you first.
Well, trust your collaborator and know that you're not always right. Your idea isn't always the best idea, and be okay with that, because in the end, you're gonna have a better book, comic, movie, whatever you're making.
Yeah, mine is pretty much, I was gonna say the same thing, but like the most important thing is the story, the product that you're making. So you need to put your feelings aside, and you can't take criticisms personally. If something isn't working, you need to feel like you can voice it without thinking that you're hurting anybody's feelings. Like, you know, I know that when I read the script for issue 2, if something sticks out to me and I think it's dumb, I don't have to think twice about shooting a text over and being like, dude, this thing on page 6 or whatever, this really doesn't work. And then he'll look at it, and if he agrees, then he'll figure something out. If he disagrees, then we'll talk about it.
What do you guys do? You guys like fight to death?
Yeah. So, I'll be like, then I'm not drawing it.
Well, I'm not writing it then.
Right. But yeah, man, it's just you got to find somebody you can work with where you don't feel like you either have to walk on eggshells or you aren't allowed to voice your opinion on it.
And having the same first name is just an added bonus, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, we're used to it. I don't know if we told you last time, but when we were in high school, there were like 17 Matts that knew each other.
And at least if you ever get like named like gifts, if you don't like it, just give it to the other guy, you know? So Matt, this is something new since you last been on. I always love ending the show, you know, outside of what you're creating, what you're consuming. So Matt R., we'll start with you first this time. You know, what type of music, what type of games, what type of movies, what books are you reading? Give us what you're doing outside of creating.
Oh man, it is all about Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom right now, bro.
Hey.
My God.
I feel it.
Right. Here's the problem with it is, what can they possibly do next?
How many penises can you build on things after this,
right.
You know?
It's just there's nowhere to
what?
There's nowhere to move forward.
No, Matt, if there's videos of these people on Zelda, they build these huge statues and put like flaming penises on them. It's wild. Nice. Nintendo was not expecting that, I don't think, but it's been done.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy game. You can do anything in that game.
So no Diablo 4?
Not yet. that $70 price tag's turning me off a little bit. Waiting to see what's going on with the Microsoft Activision deal because it's then it'll just be on Game Pass. But yeah,
he's like, I've already spent like 70 on Jedi Survivor and Tears of the Kingdom. My wallet can't take it much longer.
Exactly.
So, Matt F., what about you?
Listening to old Coheed and Cambria, pretty much constantly, and I recently read the first 3 Reckless books by Brubaker and Phillips, and those are some mighty fine crime comics.
That's fantastic.
You had Dirk Manning on a little while ago, and when you were interviewing him, I ordered his book. I started reading his book, Right or Wrong.
Oh, that's awesome. Hey, I always love when it's one of those things when you do a podcast, it's like, I don't know how many people are watching. I don't know how many people are buying. So it's awesome to hear like when someone's like, yeah, I watched the show, I bought the book. I'm like, dude, yes, like that is so awesome. Thank you for that, man.
Hey, no problem.
So for everyone watching, right here is a link to the previews world. This is coming out August 30th, so you guys have, a couple weeks to get this order, but make it happen today. The faster you do it, the faster that store knows that there's some hype behind this and they're going to order more. So Matt and Matt, thank you both for swinging by. Awesome episode 400th interview. This was perfect. I could not have asked for better Matts to come on the show to celebrate with. So with that being said, guys, it is time for us to wrap up. I hope you all have a lovely Sunday, but most importantly, guys, keep it geekly.